Before we go on to this next topic, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate your support. So, this topic is very interesting, and there's always a lot of questions surrounding it. Is it more important for men to be more into women or for women to be more into men?
I noticed a pattern over the years since I was like 18 and had little flings and relationships throughout the years. Anytime I was more into the girl than she was into me, it never ended good. It always ended up in either flaking, breaking up, cheating, so on and so forth. I think it's absolutely important for a man to, if we're talking about getting into a serious relationship, not flings, you need to find a woman that's more into you than you are into her. And it's simply because of just how the dynamic between men and women works. If she feels that you're not her best bet, not her best option, if you overvalue her, you put her on a pedestal, women are very good at reading that stuff, and she will lose interest. And I think it gets to a point where she could even resent you for it.
I also think that if a man is interested in a woman too quickly, she's going to back off very quickly. You can't go in too quick because that'll scare her off. And even if you show interest as a guy, it isn't the best bet to do so. You want her to show the most interest. You want her to give you the signs, whatever those hidden signs that women like to give, and have her have the most interest, because if she's interested in you, she'll do whatever it takes to try to hang out with you, find a way to be around you. And you're pretty much going to be a magnet for her to come to you. She's going to be all over you.
I think a good example of this is if you've ever ignored a woman, you'll notice they always come back. Even if you don't speak for like a few weeks or even a few months, they always tend to come back. Why is that? It's kind of like irrational, right? It's kind of backwards, and that's how it is. Women tend to be kind of backwards. You would think as a man, like thinking logically, that giving her constant attention and validation, that's like a good thing, that you're conveying interest. But again, a lot of things about women are backwards, and if you do it incorrectly, she will lose interest. And it's happened to me, especially when I was younger. You learn things like this through experience. It is what it is. I would be like left hanging by a girl, and I'm like, what went wrong there? Everything went good, and every guy's had this scenario at one point or another where everything seemed fine, and then all of a sudden she flakes, and you're left wondering like, oh, what happened here? Chances are it's because you conveyed too much interest and put her on a pedestal, and women hate that. I learned that women really can't stand that. It's a different story once you've been dating for 3 years, you're in a serious relationship. I'm talking about, especially in the early stages, the first few weeks, the first few months, if she gets the sense that you're too into her, it'll kill attraction. And it's happened to me a bunch of times when I was younger. And you kind of have to do it a few times where you learn like, oh, okay, so that's what that was,
You don't treat her like a queen or a princess right from the get-go. Like once you get into a relationship, sure, that's fine. You can, throw that in there, of course, not overboard, because even in a relationship, that gets a little too much. But you can't be just diving in deep and just, showing her, giving her the world from the beginning, because then you're more interested into her than she is into you. And you're just starting out. You're just talking, the talking stage that women like to have, that guys think it's the dating stage, but it's not really. It's the talking stage, because that is very unlikely that guy will be the only guy she's talking to. That's why she wants it to be the talking stage. So it's not like she's in a committed relationship and she's dating and she can just go around and talk to her roster, which could consist of maybe one guy, maybe two guys, maybe 10 guys, maybe 20. Depends. You never know. You never know nowadays. These women are nuts.
And I think that's why so many people say the same thing. It's like when it comes to texting, I think you should keep it like to the bare minimum and not text every day, not write long paragraphs. because again, women just subconsciously can sense it when a guy is like too needy and too into her, and it's not even a logical process. It's just she's gonna lose attraction.
Big time attraction loss, and she's going to put you in the friend zone.
If you convey too much interest too soon, it's in her brain, in her female brain, it's like, oh, this isn't my best option. I could probably do better than this because this guy's clearly too into me. Like this guy, they'll start to assume stuff. Oh, he probably doesn't get any other girls, or I'm probably his best looking girl he's ever gone. And they start to, that's when the attraction starts to go away because women do this automatically. It's not like a logical thing.
They're programmed to be, on their toes and kind of with a heads up of, whoa, this guy's doing a little too much. What's going on here? Some of them aren't even used to this. So when they see that, they automatically say, you're a nice guy, and I appreciate everything you're doing for me. But there's always that but there, and then I think we should be friends.
There's actually a technique that male dating coaches always talk about called push-pull. Push-pull is a technique where, let's say you're on a date and you'll flirt, but then kind of like push her away. Flirt, give her attention, then push her away. And it's like a teasing technique to kind of like build attraction, opposed to just like give her compliments the whole night and just act too interested the whole night. I think it's perfectly fine. You should convey interest. I don't want to say the wrong thing here. You should convey interest. You can't overdo it. You can't overdo it and like text her the whole time and you drop her off and text her immediately. Oh, did you get home safe and all that stuff? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, sometimes she'll tell you to do certain things, like text her, letting her know that you got home safe. But what they really want is completely the opposite. So you have to make sure you recognize that and take those steps to do somewhat of the opposite of what she says, because actions speak louder than words. She'll tell you something. She'll tell you something that she wants, but her actions will tell you differently. And you have to follow her actions, her signs, because those signs are going to tell you, okay, she interested in me or she not interested in me? And you'll know that feeling. And when she's interested in you, it'll be a great feeling. But you can't just dive in and start kissing her ass.
I think you almost kind of have to keep her on her toes. Women do it to guys all the time. Women do it like strategically, where they'll test a guy or like keep him like wondering and stuff. They do that strategically. Guys, I think we have no strategy when it comes to that. We just like, we see a girl we like and you start to convey interest, and that's where you can like, if you're not aware of this, you can fall into that trap. And once that happens, it's I think it's hard to reverse back. If you already killed the attraction by showing too much, giving her too much attention and conveying too much interest, I think it's hard to reverse that. I think you could really kill the whole thing.
I mean, sometimes it's irreversible and she becomes your friend.
Mm-hmm.
No guy is going into this trying to be her friend. You shouldn't try to be friends with a woman. You can be partners, colleagues, whatever the case is outside of dating. But when you're talking about dating a woman, you're talking about that eventually you're going to want to have sex with the woman. You're going to want to do romantic activities with the woman. You don't want to be her friend, her pen pal is what they say.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. She's just gonna put you in the friend zone. She's going to put you way at the bottom of the list of all the men that she has already on the list.
You can't text too much. Don't write big paragraphs. Don't send emojis and all that stuff and comment and like all her pictures. You can't hang out too often. That's another thing I learned too. It's like you can't hang out all the time. I think like, once a week, twice a week tops. I think it's even better if you don't see each other for 2 or 3 weeks. I think you're better off doing that than getting into this habit of texting every day and hanging out every day. She will, I promise you, she's going to get bored or lose attraction or both.
And she's exploring her options by talking to other guys. That's why she hasn't made it exclusive with you. Right? Of course.
The same way that guys are looking for like physical stimulation. Women are constantly looking for that mental stimulation. They're constantly looking for like something to keep them excited and keep those emotions like spiking all the time. So when things get boring, I think what's the saying? I hear a lot of podcasts say this. You could do anything to a woman except bore her.
I mean, once a guy emotionally breaks through her emotional wall and she's emotionally available to him, then you're getting somewhere. You're making progress. But you can't just give in and do whatever you think that is going to please her.
And like we said in the beginning when we started this topic, you can find women that are more into you than you are into them. I think it just takes a little bit more. I've had scenarios in my life where like there's women to this day that I dated years ago that like you could see the connection still there. They still reach out to me. You know what I mean? I think that's a very good green flag when a girl reaches out to you first. Maybe you didn't talk for a while and she reaches out to you first. That she's doing it for a reason. If she didn't care, she wasn't interested in you, I promise you she's not writing it to you first. Right?
Right. And
so it's a good sign. And I think that I think like for me, that's what I look for. Like she has to be more interested in you than you are in her, because the dynamic between you two is going to be completely different. When you're dealing with a woman that's into you, you're not going to be the one that's chasing her and trying to please. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. And to leave it at this, as you mentioned, she has to be more interested in you as a man than the man being more interested in the woman, because you'll just chase her away and it won't work. Maybe you can get into a relationship that way. Maybe you're interested and you convince her and you get into a relationship, but how long will that last? She has to be the one truly to want to be dedicated to getting your attention as a guy and trying to convince you, because guys give the relationship, trying to convince you to ask her out officially. So don't give in. Stay the course. Stay with the process of just going about your business, because at the end of the day, simply put, if you focus on yourself, just like women are going around and talking to other guys, you as a man should go around and just talk to other women and see who's the best fit for you. See who's the best option for you, because that's what the women are doing too. So that's what I say about that.